Hello and welcome again to another edition of Give It a Shot. This time it's the Dirty Santa edition. Because it's December, and in December, what's the one thing you get to see on TV all the time? Christmas specials. A lot of intellectual properties that should have no business to do with Christmas gets a Christmas special. And today I've got 5 specials here that I could potentially review. Let's get on with it. So, first one up is Holidays, the Christmas that almost wasn't. This has a whole lot of voice actors. This takes the notion of one of my biggest complaints about animation, which is the celebrity voice. They took it and they ran with it. Let's see who all they have here. When your headliner is Fred Savage, you know you're in for a good time. Fred Willard, Edie McClurg, John O'Hurley, Gladys Knight, why? Paul Rodriguez, Harlan Williams, Emily Osment, Brenda Song, Cole and Dylan Sprouse. They kind of look like Zach and Cody. I don't know them, but whatever. You're headlining with Fred Savage, so you know this is going to be good. Next up, we have Barbie in A Christmas Carol. Because why wouldn't you take one of the most overdone Christmas stories and put Barbie on it? I mean, I think there are over 200 some odd adaptations of A Christmas Carol. So, how bad is Barbie gonna fuck this up in CG? And the tagline at the bottom is pretty good. Barbie stars in her first holiday movie. I don't give a shit. Third, we have Hermie and Friends, A Fruitcake Christmas. I don't know anything about Hermie and Friends. I just know it exists. They pull the exact same thing with like Holidays. It features the voice talents of Tim Conway and Don Knotts. Because of course it does. Next, we have another Barbie Christmas special because we're doing damn good. It's Barbie: A Perfect Christmas. And when you got a face like this on your DVD cover, I'm gonna need a lot of eggnog. I'm kind of terrified. A holiday musical filled with laughs. And then finally, one I've basically been meaning to do for years, for whatever reason, but I just never got around to it. That and now, I think people would, YouTube and the powers that be would shut it down. My Little Pony Twinkle Wish Adventure. So this is a Generation 3 Christmas special. And, it's been a long time since I've watched anything pony related. Whatever. Let's find out which one gets to grace my eyes tonight. This is like the worst version of Wheel of Morality. I almost should just shake it till something falls out, but we're not going to do that. Oh, goody! We all lose. It's Barbie, A Perfect Christmas. Hot damn. just do it. Christ. Well, Barbie, a perfect Christmas. Yeah, okay, let's do this. My opening statement. 74 minutes! 74 minutes, okay, of this. And this was a lie. This, and this. Lies. Looking at this, right? I thought I was getting 2D animation. The inset pictures, I'm gonna, if I can find them, this thing screams 2D. No, it's CG. Nothing wrong with that, mind you, but you lied. This is a braver move. This is a Kiara the Brave move. This is any other bad CG ripoff move. This is Barbie, a legitimate intellectual property. Why in God's green earth are you doing that? You lied on Christmas stuff. I'm sure that's a sin against God. And you did it. Okay, so let's just go through the story, and then I will talk about my gripes. This is a horror film disguised as a Christmas movie. Okay? This has all the trappings of a horror film. We've got 4 people, Barbie and her sisters, and I've never understood that shit about Barbie. Like, parents and shit don't exist. Now, in this, there is an adult in the Barbie family. Her Aunt Millie, who is a fashionista in Paris. They're going to meet her in New York City for Christmas. And there's all this stuff that they intend to do. It's like, ooh, we're going to New York City, and we're going to do these things that are fun. And each one of these people have something that they intend to do while they're in New York City. Barbie is going to see a show, and Skipper is going to be with her friends that are in a band. The youngest one, because I grew, when I was growing up, Barbie, it was a miracle she had a younger sister, and it was Skipper. And then there's these other 2, what the fuck are their names? Stacy and Chelsea. Stacy, I don't know what her deal was supposed to be. Chelsea was the one that was talking about sea lions a lot.
What about the sea lions?
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Stacy, she wanted to go ice skating and do like active stuff. She's the athlete, I guess you could say, of the group. Because their identities are bland at best. I mean, Skipper is the closest thing to different, because the way she looks in this cartoon, she might not belong to this family because she's a brunette and everyone else is blonde. So she might not be of the family, or somebody had some infidelity, whatever, or it's maybe a simple dye job. Who knows? But they are all going to New York City to do fun things. And I don't know where they were flying out of. I'm going to assume the West Coast. Judging by the house that looks like something Tony Stark would live in. With goddamn waterfalls out front. This isn't falling water. This isn't Wright's Falling Water, which is a beautiful home. It's an impractical house, but a beautiful home. But that's not the point. They're going to New York City, and they get trapped. This is where the horror elements start to creep in. So they are flying to New York City, but the plane, the captain of the plane announces that they have to be shut in. So, or they can't make it because of weather.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain. We have a severe weather system in our flight path that will force us to make an unscheduled landing in Rochester, Minnesota.
Is that near New York City?
And so they land in Rochester, Minnesota. Not Rochester, New York. Rochester, Minnesota. I know most people are not aware of what's in Rochester, Minnesota. There's only one thing in Rochester, Minnesota, and that's the Mayo Clinic. There's nothing else. Furthermore, if I'm the pilot of said plane, why would I stop at Rochester, Minnesota when Minneapolis is right up it's literally like, I think it's like a 45-minute drive. So like a 15-minute flight to Minneapolis. Why? Why would you do that? Is that just conveniently set up? To set up this whole thing? Because if you were going to do that, right? Okay, you're in Minnesota. So why wouldn't you land in Fargo, North Dakota? If you did that, this would make sense, because here's what happens. They land and they're like, oh no, we are going to get to New York. We are going to get there.
We'll get to New York for Christmas. I promise. Even if I have to drive us all the way there myself.
So they rent an SUV or something, which I don't know how these kids have money. I asked that shit about the My Scene stuff, and I'm asking it here. They have money to do this. So they get an SUV, and they drive. Now, this is late December in the Northern Plains. I lived in the Northern Plains for 4 years. I'm very familiar with what happens. So the roads are shit, and they're like, oh my god, we're lost.
See? We're smack in the middle of nowhere.
So we are lost. We'll never get to New York for Christmas.
Yes, we will. We'll get there. You'll see. We just have to keep going, no matter what.
We're not gonna make it to fucking Minneapolis from Rochester. And they're complaining all the roads are closed and that they have no GPS signal. It's southern Minnesota. Of course there's no GPS signal. There's no GPS signal anywhere unless you're on fucking 94. And that's it. I know that. But they get lost and they magically find this place called the Tannenbaum Inn. You see where this is going? So they get there, they ring the doorbell, this crazy lady answers, and holy shit, we are this group who does all this wonderful shit, and before you know it, they go into a song. That's the other thing about this. Within the first 30 seconds of the movie starting, there's a goddamn song. about going to New York and Perfect Christmas.
Can't wait to rock the Rockefeller Center skating rink. I'll do a double axel, betcha I won't even blink.
Now, they're singing again. And the second song is about getting shit ready for Christmas. And here's where I really felt the horror vibes kicking in. Because within 10 seconds of the song starting, everybody starts joining in and getting shit prepared. Because at the Tannenbaum Inn, it is like this, they say the Elfins or whatever their last names are. I don't fucking remember, but it sounds like elves.
The elves!
Elves. The Elf family. That's their last name.
They're preparing these gifts for toy drives. And they they get this stuff prepared for the toy drives. And as they start singing it, all of a sudden, Barbie and her sisters are starting to wrap shit together and get it ready. Like, that's some Sirens sort of magical shit. That, oh, welcome to the Tannenbaum Inn. You will now be my elven servants. And you will put together presents for us to appease St. Nicholas. Which they everything's an illusion towards this shit, and the only one who really buys it is the little shit, Chelsea. I can't remember these names. These characters are so fucking bland. So she's like, no, this is Santa's place. This is Santa's workshop, and all this shit.
Elves! I knew it! You said your name is Christy Clausen, right? And it's the Tannenbaum Inn, like the Christmas Carol. And you have elves making Christmas presents. This is Santa's workshop!
But the lady who reminds me of Kathy Lee Gifford, is like, reminds me of Kathy Lee Gifford and Sandra Bullock, only blander. Says, okay, you can stay the night. Yes, this is an inn. We have vacancy for you. Turns out, they wake up the next morning, they're not going anywhere.
Our flight was canceled.
Canceled?
It snowed most of the night.
The runways aren't clear. They'll get us on another flight, but they can't tell us when.
More snow. It's Minnesota in December. Of course there's going to be more snow. There's over 10,000 lakes, which, if I remember it right, they had to stop counting in 1989 because I think they said there was around 17,000 lakes, and they just stopped counting. Like they hadn't discovered them all. Like when you see that shit about 10,000 lakes, no, it's true. There's more than 10,000. There's about 17,000. Although some of them are elaborate ponds from the ones I've seen. So, breathe. So, we get a third song, Barbie wishing that night that hopefully the perfect Christmas will happen. And Kathy Lee Bullock comes back up and says, well, you know, a perfect Christmas it's ethereal. It's alluding, but you know, you can't do that to like 4-year-old girls. You gotta do it some other way. It's not the physical. It's the thing that we're. So, next morning, they realize they're stuck. There ain't no flights out of Minneapolis. You just fucking forget it. They're all bummed out. What about the sea lions?
It's tomorrow. I'll miss the special sea lion feeding.
Yes! What about the sea lions? Don't fall over, damn it. And so they're like, well, shit, we're stuck here. Fuck. So here's where it gets even more eerie and creepy. Like, because they all had these ideas of shit they want to do. And they can't really do it. Because they're not going to New York City. They're stuck in bumfuck Minnesota. I'm assuming they got so lost they ended up in Wisconsin. Or better yet, they went way west and went to North Dakota. But man can dream. So, for all I know, they ended up in La Crosse, Wisconsin. But that's just a nicer slice of hell. So, they're stuck there, and one of the first things they see is a reindeer. Or so they think. And it turns out to be this dog park where these trained dogs are the rain dogs who are, trained to do tricks, and it's part of Sandra Lee Gifford's program where she gets trained dogs adopted.
They're shelter dogs.
Every year, we pick several dogs to play Santa's reindeer and be part of our canine Christmas. And so far, every year, all the rain dogs have gotten adopted.
Every year. So there's 8 of them, and they're all named after the fucking reindeer. Because of course they would be. And so there's been this running theme throughout where the 2 younger ones, Chelsea and Jesus, I'm getting the trauma is starting to stick, so now I can remember their names. Stacy and Chelsea have this thing about copycatting. And that leads to the younger one running off with this dog that doesn't look like the other dogs because A, it's a husky, and it doesn't look like a copy of different palette swaps of these other 8 dogs. It looks a little bit more cartoony. And she gets in it has a sled. I think the dog's name was Rudy or some dumb shit. And they go, it takes off after a squirrel. She's in its sled that's behind it. And they go and discover after this wild sleigh ride. And the other girls jump on a sled and woo, fun. End up at a barn where all these presents and reindeer happen to be. Ooh, the plot thickens. And so they're like, what is all this? And they go back and on their way back, they're like, oh, life still sucks. We're still not going to New York City. And the younger ones are still fighting about dumb shit. And then a snowball fight ensues. And then we get a nice montage of snowballs hitting people in the face. And then we get snowmen made. Because that's how you're going to spend your fucking day. After you've been complaining about how cold you are. Sure, why the fuck not? But on the way back to where they were going, back to the inn, they run into a literal garage band. The garage band, for all I know, they literally are in a garage. It's like a gas station garage. It's like, what the hell is this? And they're jamming out, and Skipper is totally into this because she runs a vlog about music. And the one guitarist recognizes her and is like, oh, your stuff's really good. We'd like to be, we want to be a band, but we don't have a lead singer. And she's like, oh, I would totally love to, have you on if you did. And, quite frankly, I don't think they're a good band. They sound a lot, I don't know which phone company it is, but it sounds like the dial, not the dial tone, like when you receive a phone call, like their standard, the standard ring, it sounds like that. I can't remember which one it is, but just listen. Yeah, it's like that. I don't. It's like, oh yeah, they're really good if they're playing for Nokia or whoever. I don't even know if Nokia exists anymore. Jesus, I'm old. But so then it becomes this idea of like, ooh, since we can't go to New York City and with the band I want, my Zoe's band, whoever the Zoe is, we could just do a podcast here.
I'm going to see how the band feels about a Christmas Eve debut with a new song and singer.
Because yes, in the middle of bumfuck Minnesota, I'm sure the Wi-Fi is so good and the connections are so great, of course you can broadcast. Go ahead. So now we have a plan. Now it's the beginning approach. And then Skipper pulls a power move.
She can help us spread the word to everyone in town. We'll make a stage right outside. We can serve Christy's amazing hot cocoa as people come in.
Hold up. If I'm going to do this, I want to do it. I don't want it to be a Barbie thing.
She's like, I want to do this, but Barbie, I don't want you to do anything. This is my thing. And, you know, this was like the only part of the whole movie where I could find anything to relate with, because Barbie's been around for a long time. Barbie has done everything, and it seems like, yeah, what hasn't she done? So, yeah, younger sister doesn't want her involved. You can help with some background stuff, but I don't want you to. But anywho, things get trashed for the show. Like, it ends up in chaos and everything gets ruined. And this is the the end of the second act where everything starts falling apart. The stage gets ruined. The two youngest sisters have another fight, and the one runs off. And the stage gets trashed because the dogs are chasing after this squirrel, because that's been a thing throughout the movie. This damn squirrel. And so they're like, oh my god, everything's trash, this is not gonna work, and oh wait, where's our little sister, and holy shit, no, and oh, let's get a search party and we'll figure something out. And then they find her back at the barn where they found the reindeer the first time. Now all the presents are gone, but in their stead is a stage with all the fixins and chairs. The whole barn's been converted for a wild barn dance that I'm sure everybody in Somerset, Wisconsin is gonna show up for, because it sure as hell beats sitting there watching. Well, that's usually something you do in the summer with, watching the bug zapper do. I don't know what the hell you do in Somerset, Wisconsin in December, other than pine away to be across the river in Minnesota. But, whatever. So, of course, they show up. The opening act is going to be the dogs, because we got to incorporate that shit, because why on earth would we make assets for dogs and not use them? And then they go into the song that Skipper wanted to do. And then, of course, we have to finish it off with the sisters. And then, lo and behold, Aunt Millie shows up. How did she get here? Who the fuck cares? This is so Deus Ex Machina. Holy shit. It's like, Santa did this shit. And then they go outside and there's another fucking Christmas tree, and then they sing their last song, which is Deck the Halls.
Now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol. Fa la 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 la.
And then it fades out. "74 minutes of a perfect Christmas." Now, how is this? I just ran through the story. So, first of all, the ending, just that last point, the last song, Deck the Halls. As soon as they started singing Deck the Halls, I had a flashback to like my favorite version of Deck the Halls, which goes, deck the halls with gasoline, light a match, watch it gleam. Watch, well, as I was a little kid, watch the school burn down to ashes. Aren't you glad I played with matches? That's pretty good for a 7-year-old. It's still better than anything that was in here at all.
Oh, that bites.
So let's start with the basics. The animation. First of all, I'm still mad that this lied to me. I was hoping for 2D and I got CG. Not a deal breaker, but it did make me upset. Because this is animation. Is this mainframe? Because I know when I did my first Barbie review, I talked about how Mainframe had worked on several Barbie specials in, like, I think I said like something like 12 and 10 years. This was Mainframe Entertainment's swan song before Rainmaker took them over and turned them into the Barbie churnout factory that they became. And do you know what happened? In the 10 years that they have been Rainmaker Entertainment, they have produced 12 in 10 years of Barbie films. You can only imagine the quality of production and animation and plot line that you can get out of 12 movies in 10 years. So it has a bit of that Mainframe feel to it. Like back when I did Tony Hawk and the Boom Boom Sabotage, like it has that wavering movement, you know, and this is like 7 years later, because this is 2011, and I think 6 years, I think, because this I think Boom Boom Sabotage was 2005, and it has a bit of that feeling where characters kind of wave back and forth, also kind of like Food Fight, if you've ever been graced to see that too. So it has that kind of animation style with the CG, where like characters will say something and they're still going to move around a little. So yeah, that's still a little off-putting. I mean, and here's another part of where it comes into this horror thing. It really hits hard at the end when they're at the concert, because there's a lot of blonde extra characters, like blonde women extras. They look like the assets of Barbie's past. Like these were Barbies from previous CG animation movies, and they were just sort of thrown into the background as a way of recycling it. You know, kind of like something that maybe Dingo would do, except it's a little bit harder to tell. But yeah, like they don't disguise it too well, and that's why I was like, oh, this is what's gonna happen. So while they're singing that first song and a Tannenbaum Inn, this is where the lady in charge actually steals their souls, and then they're all trapped in there for eternity to just make Christmas presents, which to me is a fate worse than death. And I got that vibe from it. Like the dog Rudy looks out of place in comparison to the other dogs, because that's the other big thing. You can tell in this who's the main character and who isn't, because the distinction, the level of detail between the remix, the main characters versus the extras is so stark. Like the extras are like, they didn't throw any money towards these characters at all. They just kind of exist. Yeah, it was something to behold. Story. I could see this shit coming a mile away. I mean, it was not anything. I mean, there's no crazy twists. Everything is pretty cut and dry. Like I could tell, like the copycat thing was gonna be a problem when they first started doing it on the airplane. Like I was like, oh, that's gonna be a problem. And like the airplane scene is where like everything that I knew was gonna be a problem was gonna all right, these are gonna be the problems throughout. Like it's not there's nothing here that's gonna just magically show up. So in that part where they actually preview the problems, okay, you did that decent, but everything that you did after that is so just cookie cutter. Like you didn't put much thought into it.
I know tons of bands we can get it to. Cool, right?
Yeah, it's cool.
The music, the songs, because this is, and it does tout itself as a holiday musical filled with laughs. I didn't laugh once. I also did not find the music to be any good at all. There's nothing really there. Like it hits you up early, like I said, within the first 30 seconds you get your first song, which is like this whole exposition on what they are about to do. And then the second song is the siren song as far as I'm concerned. And that one has auto-tune in it. I don't think that they, like, the people that they hired to be the voice actors, I don't think they put too much effort into it. Because I know that certain television series and movies will get a voice actor and maybe they can't sing, but they will get someone who sounds like them while they're singing. They didn't bother to go for that in the budget, and it shows. There's some auto-tune in the second song that I'm gagging on my own hair. I think that's my body's way of like, hey, stupid, we need to cut this off because if you keep talking about it, we will kill you.
Oh, that bites.
The third song is just like, I don't know where you're going with this, and then Barbie starts doing ballet, like that's a thing. And then you go into a drought, thank God, without music in the middle until you get to the end and you have your last song, which is, well, you have your last two songs, which is Skipper's song and with the Nokia band. Then they wrap it up with Deck the Halls because, you know, just ended up on a classic and it'll be fine. Music, nothing's gonna stick out like I expected them to, like, I don't know, give me A Friend Like Me from Aladdin or something like that. Like, oh yeah, let's really go the full 9 yards on this budget, buddy. It's more like just fucking go with what we have. So music, animation, story, talked about. Could it be fixed? Could it be, what is my rating for it? I don't even know where I'm at anymore. I went to Vlad again, because I, again, don't have most people know, if you've been following this channel for any length of time, that I have real problems with Christmas and Christmas specials. And of course, if I didn't go to Vlad on Give It a Shot, then it would definitely be a shitty review. This this is not a perfect Christmas. This is a perfect horror film that should have been. Like, if I was going to improve this, that's what it would have been. It would have been something not entirely like The Shining, but like the idea of all of a sudden, you end up coming to this Tannenbaum Inn and you don't leave. Kind of like a Hotel California. And now you just become one of the Elvins or whatever they call themselves.
But the elves!
Elves! The Elf family.
And that's where they spend the rest of their days. That's how they die. Their bodies are used to create toys for the Dark Lord Santa until their death. I think that would be a way better movie. Like, they try to escape it, and it's kind of like the end of Manos: The Hands of Fate, where, the women, even though that one's very disturbing, they meet a little girl who has become the wife of Manos. Anywho, yeah, it would go like that. That's the way I would improve this. But yeah. A Perfect Christmas. My ass. There are my Christmas thoughts. Dirty Santa done me dirty. For fuck's sake. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm not sure I did. I know my body hates me now. Merry Christmas and a happy fuck you.